Welcome to our English Flow podcast channel. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the English Flow podcast. I am Sarah.
And I am Mark. Hello, listeners. We are happy to be here with you today.
Today, we have a fun topic. We are talking about shopping, but a special kind of shopping.
That is right. Today's episode is Buying Souvenirs, Shopping While Traveling on Holiday.
Do you like buying things when you travel, Mark?
Yes, I do. I always buy something small to remember my trip. But before we talk about our stories, let's look at some important words.
Good idea. We have 4 new words for you today. The first word is souvenir.
A souvenir is a thing that you buy or keep to remember a place. For example, if you go to Paris, you might buy a small model of the Eiffel Tower. That is a souvenir.
Exactly. Our second word is local.
Local means belonging to a particular area or neighborhood. When we say local food, we mean food from that specific city or country.
Correct. Our third word is handmade.
Handmade is easy to understand. It means made by a person, not by a machine. Handmade things are usually unique and special.
And our last word for today is bargain.
To bargain means to discuss the price with the seller to try and make it lower. In some countries, it is normal to bargain at the market.
So we have souvenir, local, handmade, and bargain.
Now that we know these words, let's talk about shopping on holiday.
So Mark, let's talk more about this. Why do people love buying souvenirs so much?
That is a great question. I think the main reason is memory. When we travel, we have amazing experiences. We see beautiful things and eat delicious food. But when we come home, we want something to hold.
I understand that. A physical object helps you remember the feeling of the holiday. Photographs are great, but holding a cup or wearing a scarf from another country feels different.
Exactly. It connects you to that place. However, there are some bad points too. What do you think is the biggest disadvantage of buying souvenirs?
For me, the biggest disadvantage is the clutter. Clutter means having too many things in your house that you do not use. Sometimes we buy things on holiday because we are excited, but when we get home, we put them in a cupboard and never look at them again.
I am guilty of that. I have a box in my closet full of strange magnets and keychains. I call them dust collectors because they just sit there and collect dust.
That is a waste of money. And speaking of money, that is another negative point. Souvenirs can be very expensive, especially in tourist areas.
Yes. If you buy a souvenir right next to a famous museum or landmark, the price is usually double or triple the real value. We call these shops tourist traps.
That is a good phrase. So, if you want to save money, you should not shop in the main tourist center.
Correct. I usually walk a few streets away from the main center. The shops there are quieter and the prices are much lower.
That is great advice. Another problem is packing. Airlines are very strict about suitcase weight now. If you buy a heavy statue or a lot of books, you might have to pay a lot of money at the airport.
Oh, I hate paying for extra luggage. So the cons are it can be expensive, it creates clutter, and it is heavy. But let's look at one more positive point.
I think buying local products is a wonderful way to help the people in that country.
I agree 100%. If you buy from a small family business or a street artist, your money helps them directly. It feels better than giving money to a big international company.
Plus, it is nice to bring gifts to your friends and family. It shows them that you were thinking about them while you were away. Let's talk about some specific stories. Mark, have you ever bought a souvenir that looked great on holiday, but looked silly when you arrived home?
Oh, definitely. That is a very common mistake. A few years ago, I went to Mexico. Everyone was wearing these large, colorful hats called sombreros. It looks so fun and traditional.
Let me guess, you bought one.
Yes, I did. I bought a huge, colorful sombrero. I wore it for one day on the beach and took some funny photos. But then I had to pack it. It was too big for my suitcase.
Oh no, what did you do?
I had to wear it on the airplane. I felt very silly walking through the airport in a cold city wearing a giant beach hat. And now, it is just sitting on top of my wardrobe collecting dust. I never wear it.
That is a funny story, but it is a good lesson. Think about where you will use the item before you buy it. I prefer buying things I can actually use in my daily life.
Like what? Give us an example.
Well, last summer, I went to Turkey. I went to the Grand Bazaar in Istanbul. It is a huge market with thousands of shops. Instead of buying a magnet, I bought some small, beautiful ceramic bowls.
Ceramic bowls are useful. You can use them for snacks or breakfast.
Exactly. Every time I eat breakfast, I look at the bowl and remember my trip to Istanbul. But I was very worried about bringing them home. Ceramic breaks very easily.
That is the problem with handmade pottery or glass. How did you protect them?
I asked the shop assistant to wrap them in bubble wrap. That is plastic with air bubbles in it. Then I put them in the middle of my suitcase between my soft clothes.
That is the best way to do it. Did you have to bargain for the price in the market?
Yes. In the Grand Bazaar, bargaining is part of the culture. The seller told me the price was 50 lira. I offered 30. We discussed it for a few minutes, smiled, and agreed on 35 lira.
See, that is a good skill. You saved money. I also like buying consumable souvenirs, things you can eat or drink.
Me too. Food is the best souvenir because it does not take up space in your house forever. Once you eat it, it's gone.
True. I often buy spices, local coffee, or chocolate. Last time I was in Belgium, I bought 3 boxes of chocolates.
Did you give them to your friends?
Well, I gave 1 box to my parents, but I ate the other 2 boxes myself before I even unpacked my bag.
Mark, you are terrible, but I understand. Belgian chocolate is delicious. I do not blame you, Mark. Chocolate is very hard to resist. But that is a good final lesson. If you eat your souvenir, you do not have to carry it home.
Exactly. So, let's wrap up our discussion for today. We covered a lot of tips while shopping traveling.
Yes. To summarize, remember that souvenirs are wonderful for keeping memories, but you need to be smart. Try to avoid dust collectors. Do not buy things that will just sit in a box forever.
Instead, look for items that are useful, like clothes, kitchen items, or food. And always remember the weight. You do not want a surprise at the airport check-in desk.
We also learned that buying handmade and local goods is the best way to support the artists and people in that country. It makes the item more special than something made in a factory.
And don't forget our vocabulary words: souvenir, local, handmade, and bargain.
Speaking of bargaining, remember the rule: be polite, smile, and treat it like a friendly conversation, not a fight. If you are nice, you might get a great price.
Now, before we finish, we have a challenge for our listeners. We want you to practice using these ideas.
Here is your question for this week. If you could travel anywhere in the world right now, what is one souvenir you would want to buy there?
That is a great question. Maybe you want a cowboy hat from the USA, or maybe you want traditional tea from China.
Tell us what you want to buy and why. You can write your answer in your English notebook, or you can practice speaking.
A good tip is to record your voice on your phone. Answer the question, then listen to yourself. It's a fantastic way to improve your pronunciation and confidence.
Thank you for joining us on this shopping trip today. We hope these tips help you on your next vacation.
Keep practicing, keep learning, and don't fill your suitcase with heavy stones.
See you in the next episode of the English Flow podcast. Goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone.